Hey friends, welcome to another episode of Generation Tech. My name is Ben. Look, I got a laptop now so I can display the Generation Tech logo like Alan does while I'm talking to you guys. Anyway, I was watching an episode of Star Trek Voyager the other day in which 7 of 9 gets captured and gets forced to compete in some kind of MMA-style fighting contest when who bursts out into the octagon but...
If you're some man, what the rock is cooking.
Okay, I added in the "if you smell" line, but it got me thinking just how many celebrities have cameoed in Star Trek, sometimes in quite surprising roles over the years. First up, we have of course, The Rock. He played the Pandari fighting champion in a sport known as Tsankatsi. There are some rules to it, but I won't bore you with them. Basically, it's UFC in space. And he wasn't the last WWE wrestler to appear in a Star Trek show. Tommy Tiny Lister Jr. played Klang, the first Klingon to be encountered by humans, and The Big Show played an Orion slave trader who captured T'Pol and tried to turn her into a slave.
3 million civics! Better than my last wife sold for that much!
Next up, we have Mick Fleetwood, drummer from the rock group Fleetwood Mac. He guest starred in an episode of The Next Generation, no, not as this guy, but as an Antedian. Basically, they're Star Trek's answer to the Mon Calamari, a fish-inspired alien race, known throughout the galaxy for their good looks.
What a handsome race.
Or maybe it's only Worf who thinks that. Anyway, Mick, known for his beard, had to shave it off for the role, which required prosthetic makeup on his face and hands. Next, Tom Morello, the guitarist from Rage Against the Machine, was such a big Trekkie that he reached out to Star Trek producer Rick Berman and asked personally if he could do a cameo. Berman's son just happened to be a Rage Against the Machine fan, so Rick was delighted. Morello played 2 uncredited roles in Star Trek. The first in Star Trek Insurrection as this sonar alien, but due to the heavy makeup, he's basically unrecognizable. Star Trek Insurrection scored pretty average with critics and even worse with fans, so Morello came back in a season 6 episode of Star Trek Voyager to play crewman Mitchell, and he even got to engage in some awkward small talk with Captain Janeway.
Crewman Mitchell, how have you been?
Never better, ma'am. Yourself?
Not bad. Not bad at all.
To the left, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next, music icon Iggy Pop. Famous for almost never wearing a shirt, he played the Vorta clone Yelgren. The Vorta controlled the army of the Dominion, the Jem'Hadar, through drugs they got them hooked on. Basically, they were a race of deep space drug dealers. Luckily, Iggy Pop has turned his back on drugs now. Anyway, Yelgren is sent to negotiate with the Ferengi over a prisoner exchange aboard an abandoned space station in an episode of Deep Space Nine. Yelgren is tricked by the Ferengi, however.
Ferengi.
I know. You hate us.
All right, you! Get moving!
And ends up being captured and sent back to Deep Space Nine, where he is handed over to Starfleet. But the exchange with the Ferengi does produce some amusing conversation.
Family. You understand.
Not really. I was cloned.
No parents? That explains a lot.
No parents, no sweetheart, no investment portfolio.
And no patience.
And he manages to keep his shirt on for the whole episode. Pop's character was described by John Hoffman writing for StarTrek.com as, quote, one of the best bits of strange casting on the show. Next, Seth MacFarlane, who cameoed as Ensign Rivers in 2 episodes of Star Trek Enterprise. Seth MacFarlane, the creator of Family Guy, is a big Star Trek fan, and this is of course what prompted him to create his own Star Trek-inspired show, The Orville. The show fills a painful gap for Trek fans. 13 years without a new Star Trek show on TV, and the 2017 Star Trek show Discovery, which, although it has the name, isn't really a Trek show at all. MacFarlane has said he is, quote, Hunger Games out, basically tired of dystopian futures being displayed on TV. He modeled his show after an optimistic view of the future, kind of in the style of Star Trek The Next Generation. I thoroughly recommend the show. It's made by a true Trek fan, and I think Gene Roddenberry would be proud if he saw it. So guys, there are 5 celebrities who you may not have known were in Star Trek. There are, of course, many, many, many more. I could probably make a 4 or 5 part series on this, so if you want to see more, please leave a comment below. If you guys are interested in our Generation Tech t-shirts, why not check out our Generation Tech apparel store? The link is in the description. You can also buy our Humanity First Death to Alien Scum t-shirt, designed by Alan. He's a bit of a racist when it comes to alien species. Anyway guys, if you're new, please subscribe, give this video a like, and if you're watching this, you are Generation Tech.